Welcome to Conversations. I'm Muqtadar Khan, your host, and today I'm going to talk to you about the counter offer that Iran has made to the United States. As you know, that the peace talks have stalled. Donald Trump was so frustrated. He told his negotiators, Kushner and Witkoff, not to make the 18-hour flight all the way to Pakistan because to discuss irrelevant things, as he said, because there was nothing concrete on the table. So to understand what's going on, you must understand that even as they are talking about having formal talks, there are continuous informal talks. I think Steve Witkoff is on is texting to some extent with Abbas Araghchi, and then of course the Pakistanis are mediating constantly. So what usually I think happens is that if there is a positive signal from the other side that something concrete is going to happen, then they go there and have a face-to-face talks and try to hash out the details. So I think the signal that Donald Trump got, which was very clear, it was in the public, that Abbas Araghchi said that they are not interested in negotiations with Iran at all, with the US, until the Strait of Hormuz is blockaded. So Abbas Araghchi went all the way to Islamabad, but did not signal that he's ready for negotiations. I think he went to Islamabad in the hope that Donald Trump would lift the blockade on Hormuz, and then Iran would immediately announce that they are also opening the Strait of Hormuz. And if Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner were, hanging around in some dhaba or some restaurant or cafe in Islamabad, then they would just get together and have a chit chat. I think that was Abbas Araghchi's plan. And then he obviously went on a tour. He went to Islamabad, then he went back, went to Oman, Muscat, then went to Moscow to see Putin, and then went back to Islamabad, giving Donald Trump enough time to reconsider opening the Strait of to his blockade of the Iranian ports and the Strait of Hormuz, which did not happen. So you're back at the ongoing stalemate. The Strait of Hormuz is blockaded. I just checked the price of Brent oil. It is approaching $110. It was 108 and something at the moment. The prices at the United States on the pump everywhere, it's above $4 and nearly 15 cents across the board in the country. The country is experiencing inflation. People are very unhappy. The approval rating for this war is less than 37%. That is what 66% of Americans simply absolutely reject Donald Trump's premises and the purpose of this war. They think this war is unnecessary. This was a war that is not America first. It is an Israel first war. Donald Trump had promised no more wars and he broke his promise, and so on. So the American public really doesn't care. He's not getting any bump, no matter how much he brags about the greatness of his mission and the greatness of America's army, the wonderful things we are doing for the Israelis, etc. No matter what, the Americans don't care. Even the MAGA crowd does not care. So he's not getting any domestic benefit from this war. He understands that he's losing prestige. For example, look at this comments made by Chancellor Merz. And you must remember that the Germans have no ethics or morality. I mean, these are the people who committed the worst crimes against humanity. They committed the Holocaust. They killed 6 million Jews. Nobody talks about the fact that they also killed 6 million Romani people. So the mass murderers, the Germans. And then they supported the genocide in Gaza, and they continue to do this. So these Germans are also, who are dependent on American security, are now mocking the United States. And this is what Germany's Chancellor Merz had to say, that Iran is clearly stronger than we had anticipated. No, you had not anticipated, you moron. You just listen to whatever Netanyahu and the Israeli intelligence says. Like Americans who ignored, like Donald Trump, who ignored his own director of national intelligence. I mean, why did he appoint Tulsi Gabbard as the head of national intelligence if he didn't trust her? Did he get money to do that appointment? Like, was that a transaction? So he simply refuses to trust in Tulsi Gabbard. He does not trust the CIA, does not trust the DIA. Everybody told him that what Netanyahu was telling him is farcical. That's the word General Kane used. And then, of course, Rubio explained that to Donald Trump in Donald Trump's level of English, saying it's bullshit. Everything Netanyahu told was bullshit. And the same thing that the intelligence that the Israelis give to Americans are the intelligence they give to Europeans. And so the Europeans say, oh my God, Iran is stronger than we thought. Iranian people are not protesting at all. There are no protests. The Israelis told us that there will be massive protests, and they want a pro-Israel, some leader like India's Narendra Modi, who will say with full conviction that we stand with Israel. No, they're not getting a leader like that in Iran anytime soon. So anyway, he at least said that Iran is humiliating the United States, and this is his way of humiliating Donald Trump for all the nasty things that Trump says about Europe. But anyway, let's come back. So the Iranians now have come back with a counter proposal to the United States. This is what they say. Let's push the negotiations about nuclear enrichment and nuclear dust, as Donald Trump calls. Basically, the 400 and odd kilos, about 1,000 pounds of enriched uranium at 60%. Not enough to make a good bomb, but some people say you can make 10 to 12 or 11 dirty bombs. So they have that much enriched uranium, which they've done since the collapse of the JCPOA. They had nothing. When Donald Trump withdrew from the JCPOA, the Iranians began enrichment, and that is what they have achieved. They have about 400 plus pounds. They can make about a dozen dirty bombs. That's what Donald Trump wants, and he wants the Iranians to completely end nuclear enrichment of uranium, but also shut down the infrastructure. Basically, forget the science of enrichment. That is the maximalist U.S.-Israeli demand. The Iranians are saying, forget about it. That is our right. We will never give it up. It is part of our sovereignty. What we will do instead is we'll talk about it later, but first, let's do two things. One, end the war, or have a long ceasefire. And number two, let's open the Strait of Hormuz. So you lift the blockade, and we will also lift our limitations and the conditions that they have imposed. But they are willing to open the Strait of Hormuz, but they will not give up their claim on the Strait of Hormuz, and they insist on continuing to collect tolls from the countries that they want to collect tolls from. So they will allow their friends to go freely, and then those who are not that friendly, they will collect tolls from them. This is what the Iranians said, number one. Number two, they want the ceasefire in Lebanon to hold very serious. So these are the three proposals that the Iranians have essentially made, saying that we should basically lift the blockades on Strait of Hormuz, both of us end the war, discuss the nuclear issue much, much later, ensure that that Israel does not attack Iranian targets or even Iranian proxies. So those are the demands that they have made counter-proposal. I'm not very sure that Donald Trump is going to accept that, because the only reason now that Donald Trump thinks he has only two leverages over Iran: the threat of war, destroying Iran's power plants and its energy infrastructure, or to blockade the Strait of Hormuz, by which Iranian oil to China is not able to traverse the strait. In that way, you can say that it's one stone with two birds. It's hurting the Iranian exports as well as Chinese imports, which is until recently was discounted. So the U.S. has the blockade of Hormuz as a leverage. At least Donald Trump thinks that it's going to put pressure on Iran. Iran's economy has suffered a lot in the last 40 years. Everybody knows that. Iran's currency is also like in a deep dive. So talking about Iran's GDP doesn't make sense. Even adjusting for purchasing power parity is kind of meaningless. But nevertheless, in dollars, the Iranian economy is $400 billion. But some people say that no, if you make adjustment for purchasing power parity, it is about $1 trillion. And I'm beginning to believe the higher estimate because of the resilience that the Iranian economy has shown. So the Iranian oil exports are about $40 billion. So even if all of that is frozen, I don't know how much Iran can smuggle through land via Pakistan and other places through Central Asia. They have many land borders. They can do that. But let's say that the US is able to just plug entire oil exports. So that's 10% of the Iranian GDP. How much will that put pressure on the Iranian economy is a serious question, and for how long. But what the blockade of Hormuz is getting up to a serious point. So, for example, these countries, the GCC countries and Iraq, are not able to export a lot of their oil as a result of the blockade. And so they have been pumping it out. Now the storage places is running off. So eventually, if this thing continues for, say, another 5 months, 3 months, they will have to stop producing oil because there's no market for it. I mean, they can't bring it to the marketplace. So one, the price of oil will be going up, but the production will stop, and that is going to hurt in the long run because apparently it takes weeks to turn it on again. It's a very complex process, this extraction of oil and refining. It's not a simple, it's not like a tap that you turn on and off. Like somebody said, it's not as if you stick a straw into the earth and suck out the oil. That's not how it happens. And so we are going to have a major economic crisis going forward if this doesn't happen. People are talking about recession in many economies. People are talking about political instability in many developing economies, so on and so forth. And all of this will be because of this war, and Donald Trump and the United States are going to be blamed, and of course Israel. And of course the US will continue. American politicians these days live for only one purpose, and that is to advance Israeli interests. Whether it is Democrats like Chris Coons of Delaware, or Chuck Schumer of New York, or Fetterman of Philadelphia, or Cory Booker of New Jersey, all of these guys, their sole purpose is they take money from pro-Israeli billionaires and then they just keep advancing Israeli interests. So Israel is not going to be in trouble, even though it may not even be blamed for all of this. But the US will have to pay the bill financially, even provide financial assistance to UAE now, continue to spend close to $1 billion a day running all these military operations. Even if they are not fighting, just maintaining such a large force in the Gulf is costing the US close to $500 million a day. So all of that, and on top of that, the world is going to be pissed off, and people like, the German Chancellor Merz will start, saying things about the US. So the US is going to lose respect, and Donald Trump can talk through his bloody hat as much as he likes about this is the golden age of America, the hottest country in the world. Everybody's saying, nobody's saying these things. I don't know where he comes to get it and how stupid. I think people like Donald Trump and even Narendra Modi of India and some of these right-wing guys, they have a very low opinion of the IQ of their own supporters. So they say all these stupid bullshit lies. Like Modi keeps saying India is a Vishwa Guru, blah, blah, blah. India is this, India is that. No, nobody thinks like that in the rest of the world. And the same with Trump. He keeps saying that America is the hottest country. Really, right now, people are really ticked off at the US. The US soft power is just evaporating. Anyway, so those are the conditions. I don't think Donald Trump is going to accept those conditions. Donald Trump will get into the negotiations, and yes, I think he will open the Strait of Hormuz because it'll bring the prices of oil down, and his family members will make money on the stock market, etc. But it is interesting to see how the Iranians are approaching. They seem to be far more calmer and cool about this whole business. They seem to think that they are in command of this. So Abbas Araghchi goes, as the Australians say, walkabout. In Australia, the Aborigines, the natives of Australia, before they were invaded and colonized the way Israel is colonizing the West Bank and Gaza. So before Europeans came and colonized Australia, they were native Australians, and they have this thing called walkabout, just go walking. And I think Abbas Araghchi has gone on a walkabout. So he went to Pakistan, he went to Oman, he went to Moscow, and he's going back. the trip to Moscow was important. He was there for a few hours. He did all of this in less than 48 hours, I think. So he met with Putin, which is very important. He's sending the signal that Iran is not isolated, Iran is not a pariah state. Iran, I mean, look at the pomp and show we had when Putin met Donald Trump in Alaska, and the same with this. Abbas Araghchi gets to go and meet people in the Gulf. He gets to meet Putin, even though there was no firm commitment of military aid or assistance from Putin. It was clearly he promised them a lot of. He promised him political support, and of course, the signaling enough is alone enough for 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 Iran that it is still welcome in major capitals of the world. But what is also interesting is that his trip to Oman was quite consequential. I think Iran has succeeded in dividing the Gulf. I think Iran has succeeded in dividing the GCC countries. And so now you have a scenario where the Qataris and the Omanis are more in line with Iran than with the Israelis, of course, unlike UAE. And also perhaps the Saudis are more subtle about it. And Iran's promise to share the revenues that they will generate from the Strait of Hormuz with Oman is quite interesting. I did not anticipate that. I was quite surprised by that offer or that suggestion from the Iranians. It is very clearly a way to bring Oman on their side, and of course there must be logistical issues that make Oman's cooperation in blocking the Strait of Hormuz easier. So that is another development. There's one other interesting thing that I want to share with you before I wind up for today, which is that one particular member of the parliament of Iran, Ibrahim Rezai, basically says Pakistan lacks credibility for mediation. An Iranian lawmaker says, this is an Iranian website. Let me just quickly share what he's saying. Pakistan does not have the necessary credibility for mediation. Ibrahim Razai, spokesman for the Parliament's National Security Commission, wrote on X, adding that Islamabad takes into account the interests of the US president in its positions. Razai added that Pakistan is unwilling to say that Washington has retreated from its previous proposal. So basically, if you remember, the foreign minister of Oman after the Geneva negotiations and the US and Israel attacked Iran and lied to the world that Iranians were not, there was no progress in the talks. The Omani foreign minister actually went on American television to say that we were making significant progress. And Iran had agreed to make concessions on the nuclear issue that Israel and the US were demanding. And in spite of that, the US and Israel attacked Iran because they got an opportunity to kill its leadership. So the Omanis simply exposed the Americans and the Israelis as lying during negotiations and negotiating in bad faith. But the Pakistanis are not doing that. I think that is the complaint, that the Pakistanis are providing cover for Donald Trump. If you remember, Abbas Araghchi's comments after the end of negotiations with J.D. Vance was, he said every time we reached a point of agreement, J.D. Vance would shift the goal. So the goalposts they kept moving the goalposts to ensure that there was no agreement in that meeting. And then, of course, J.D. Vance kept reporting to Netanyahu. And this is how Netanyahu said about it, that the Americans report to me regularly. And so J.D. Vance, during the negotiations, was calling Trump and basically he was calling both his bosses, Netanyahu and Donald Trump, during the negotiations. And that's how I think they kept moving the goalpost. At least from the Iranian point of view, that's what I gathered from the statement that Abbas Araghchi made. So they are saying that the Pakistanis who are witness to all of this, when they give public statements, they are not telling the world that the Americans are negotiating in ill faith, that they are not there and not being sincere. And that is irritating the Iranians, I think. It is quite possible that they may insist that the next piece of negotiations, if there is one, happens in Oman. I mean, I would, if they asked me, I would say you should do this in Beijing or in Moscow. That would be amazing. Because anyway, Steve Witkoff loves to go to Moscow, and so does Jared Kushner. But if they can have these negotiations in Beijing or Moscow, it would be very, very interesting. Anyway, so that's what is happening. I have one announcement that I want to make to all of you. Look, I have on my website, I have a new page called Global Perspective, US-Israel War on Iran. I have shared the link right away in the beginning of this conversation. So if you scroll up, you can see the link. I'm going to post the link again just now. You can see the link in the comments section. So what I'm doing is that I've invited scholars from all over the world to reflect on this war and how they think this war is affecting the global economy, the global balance of power, and particularly their own country. So far, I have posted 4 comments, 4 short essays. They're very brief, 2-paragraph essays from these scholars highlighting the main impact that they see from. So we have a perspective from Chile in South America. We have a perspective from India. We have a perspective from Turkey, and we have a perspective from Indonesia at the moment on the website that you can go and see. And every 24 hours, I will be adding new perspectives from many different parts of the world. If you are a scholar who studies geopolitics, and if you are also interested in making a contribution, contact me. And if I like it, I have a very informal review process. I will quickly read your contribution. If it has an interesting insight, I will publish it. There's no financial transaction. There's nothing. And I will give you a link to your piece on this website, and you can share it with your friends, your students, your network, on your social media. And so it's an opportunity for you that I'm providing on my platform to share your views. So take advantage of it. Anyway, everybody, thank you. SMS is a member of Conversations, and good. You're reading it. Good. Give me some feedback there, positive feedback there. Anyway, so thank you for watching, and please, if you have not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe to the channel, like this video, press the bell icon, and share it with your socio-political network. Until next time, I'm your host, Muqtada Khan. Take care.